It wasn't pretty. It wasn't timely, but a win's a win's a win. The regular season is over. Your Chiefs are going to the playoffs. Right now, over my shoulder, we're trying to figure out who the heck they're going to play. Welcome to RGR Football. It is post-game live. Welcome to Sunday night. This is Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. The Chiefs got their 1-point win, thanks to Harrison Butker. They're right there at the end. And a lot of things happened. We're going to talk about it all tonight. We're going to answer a few of your questions, and we're going to get to the bottom of what it looks like going forward because the Chiefs got to get right back at it for the first time in a while. Yep. They're playing a wild card game next week, depending on what happens right now on Sunday Night Live. So we appreciate you guys being with us. Welcome to the show, Dan. Are you happy? Are you relieved that the regular season's over? Because I am.
I mean, after we got to sit through this regular season, yes, I'm very happy it's over. I'm hoping that the postseason brings a refined attention to detail for this team, knowing they can't play that way and win playoff games. It will not be pretty in that regard. So I'm hoping that the changing of the seasons here from regular to post brings a new life for this team. So yeah, I'm pretty happy it's over. Excited for the postseason, but it flew by. That season absolutely flew by. So that's still a little disappointing.
The one guy that it didn't fly by for is Travis Kelce, because he decided, you know what, I'm going to take a week off. Came out after the game. Andy said that he gave him the choice. And kudos to Travis Kelce for saying, hey, you know, that would have been selfish of me. Like, he spun it in a nice way, but let's be real. Travis Kelce hasn't been upfront with us the whole season, and neither have the Chiefs. He's been hurting a lot more than he's led on this entire time. And the fact that he would pass up a 1,000-yard season accomplishment that would set him even farther apart in the Hall of Fame story and the annals of this league, the whole 9 yards, that tells you something. He needed the rest, and I'm glad that he got it. If he needed it, I'm glad he took it. I'm a little disappointed for him personally, but it is what it is. And taking this game off assures that he'll be better off and feel better and hopefully be more productive in the next coming 4 games, because that's what a Super Bowl run is now, folks. It's 4 games to get there.
Yeah, and I think that he's got a lot of his teammates to blame for not getting 1,000 yards too. Like, he's hurt, obviously, but like, if they did more in this season, he would have had 1,000 yards. Like, if they could have just taken some attention off of him and made his life a little bit easier, the offense would have looked better, and Travis would have had 1,000 yards a couple of weeks ago. But that wasn't the case, and we unfortunately doesn't have his 8th straight season of 1,000 yards. But this is the big picture. The team knows what this is about at this point. And as much as I would have liked to see him go out there, and we assumed he would, much like Chris Jones did to get his incentive, $1.5 million. Obviously, it was a little different, like Travis said. It's a little different monetary value versus historic value. I guess you can kind of weigh which one you are more, I guess, what you find more important. Personally, historical value weighs more than a $1.5 million incentive, but that's neither here nor there.
Hey, it's his choice at least. And like I said, if he's feeling good, helps him feel better, I'm all for it. You know, in the end, I agree with you, and I think he probably took a little bit to make that decision. Chris Jones, clearly opposite, wanted to go get out there, wanted to get that money. I think the big takeaway, and I said this on Locked On Chiefs, and I'll just double down and expand on it a little bit more. The reason this has been such a hard year and the whole negotiation thing and all that BS was tough is because of who Chris Jones is, not just on the field. Dudes love that guy. And that reaction when he finally got it tells you everything you need to know about what he is as a foundation player, not on the field, but in the locker room and in the day-to-day and in the training room and lifting dude's spirits. He's never been a rah-rah, you have to go do this kind of leader. That's what Frank Clark used to do. He's been a, hey, we can be great. Let's have some fun. Let's keep it light. He's really good at that. And I think I expected the D lineman to get all fired up for him, right? Like that was in the cards, right? I thought maybe the roast of the defense. But to see dudes like MVS, who clearly is more concerned about money than anything else anyway, but a lot of the offensive players lost their damn minds when he got that. That tells you what he is to the interior of this franchise, the one that we don't get to see every day.
It was fantastic, honestly, to see everyone do that. And I think that kind of team atmosphere is what they're going to need in the postseason. You have to get everybody up for when something big like that happens, especially now with this younger team, inexperienced postseason team for a lot of these younger players. You need some of that to rely on. And I do think that that's a point right now where we're going to be able to see, and hopefully the Chiefs lean on that going into the postseason. But that reaction was just special moment, I think, for everybody. Chris Jones obviously deserves the money. We know he deserves the money. Like, you would have had that if you played week 1, buddy. Like, that would have been there already. So there's a little frustration that goes along with it on my end, but fully understanding that he's one of the best defensive tackles in football, if not the best, and still deserves every second of it, and deserves every cent of it. And all you, like you said, the team loves him. It's just it's a great atmosphere when you get something like that, and you get to see everyone go crazy on the sideline.
Yeah, I agree. Now, moving on to this game, ton of backups played, as they should. The big concern, that was the fun part, Kelce and Jones, the concern. And the reason that I made the thumbnail what it is because I'm not convinced that this isn't a bigger deal than it was. We've seen players get hurt and come back into a ball game all just to miss practice next week and miss a game the next week. I'm concerned about Juwan Taylor. I hope that he's all right because I think you got a glimpse of the alternative. And Wanya Morris on a short week, what could be a Saturday game, a concussion protocol makes things real damn tough to see him back on the field. This is a problem. And this is why I'm rooting for the Dolphins tonight because I prefer to play the Steelers. I just got to tell you, TJ Watt has a grade 2, downgraded from a grade 3, which is a full tear. They just put that out MRI tonight. So he's still way unlikely to play. But Chiefs against Steelers is a whole lot better than Chiefs against these Dolphins without Wanya Morris. So that's kind of where I stand. The 2 big injuries today. I know Ross pulled a hamstring. Somebody said something about Watson. I didn't see anything happen to Watson, so I'm not sure what it was.
Me either.
Shamar Connor came back in the game, and I think he was okay. Who else? It was Bush at the very end.
Yeah,
and he didn't give much of an update on him either. So I think they're going to be all right.
I think just the fact that this, not even just for the Chiefs, everybody this weekend felt like there were injuries everywhere. Sam Laporta got hurt. Obviously, you talked yesterday about TJ Watt. There were tons of injuries all over the NFL. And I feel like this year's been worse with the injuries. Obviously, this has been one of the most quarterback-heavy injured season in the NFL. Like, we're talking 10, 12 starting quarterbacks done at certain points in this season. That's the product was not where it was the last couple of seasons. And you had to see Nick Mullins and like teams go through 3 or 4 of them. Yeah, exactly. Root for the Dolphins so we don't have to so we don't have to play the Dolphins. I'll be honest though, it's going to be cold in Kansas City. It's going to be cold in Kansas City. So I'm personally not as worried about playing the Dolphins in terms of, obviously you want to play Mason Rudolph. All in. Yes, bring Mason Rudolph to Kansas City. Absolutely. I'd be totally on board with that. But if it's Tua, I'm not like, oh no, the Dolphins. Like, okay, well, their offensive line's garbage. Tua's not used to playing in the cold. Like,
agreed. And honestly, the one guy who is used to playing in Kansas City in particular is the guy that can hurt you the most. So that's why I'd rather not push it at this point. Especially and shout out to Tyreek. I know he's been a pain in the butt since he left town. He's talked a lot of trash, but he had a fire at his home this week. It was a rough week for him. So like I don't like to see that on anybody, even if they did leave town in less shape than they started in. You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
That said, folks, I know you have a ton of questions, a lot of good ones. We're not going to be able to answer everything tonight because y'all are flying in there. We will have the Q&A tomorrow night. It'll be a little bit rushed because there's a national championship game coming on, and we are going to watch that. So, yeah, we have about 17 prospects we're going to be running down on that one. You're going to see Black Monday tomorrow. You're going to see my guys to watch hopefully tonight when I'm all done with this. So check out NFL33.com. Go get subs so you can get in on that. Here's the thing. All that aside, your questions are valid. We're going to try to rush through that and give you the lowdown. I thought what really encouraged me today is the defense stood up. And it's just, that was probably, 60, 75% of the Chargers starters that they just beat. It wasn't Keenan Allen, but Eckler was out there, a guy that can hurt you. It wasn't, Mike Williams, but enough of their good guys. The defense stood up, and we saw Malik Herring go inside, play outside. I thought he had a nice day. FAU was slow to start, still not really clicking in the beginning. Second half, I thought that came around. He got off the ball a little bit better. Maybe it's because BJ Thompson got in the game late in the first half, and then in the third quarter, he was all over.
He played a little bit. Yeah, he played. I saw a little bit in the first half, and then they were like, "Hey, going out there in the second half, and that get off, man, that get off was
that
there.
is real." Yeah. And I think maybe that pushed FAU, to tell you the truth. I think that's good. I like what I saw. It was just flashes, and BJ had some rough spots, so did FAU.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought those three guys that I was really looking for played well. Saw Farrell flash a little bit. It's like, what have you been doing stashing this dude all week? Why are you calling Mike Pennell out of the retirement home when you got somebody that can flash a little bit? So I thought overall it was really, really intriguing, and my guy Cam Jones went off. My big takeaway is this performance shows you what Cam can do. Still not 100%, obviously, but you have three linebackers you got to sign this offseason. If you can't get one of those done, you got Leo and you got Cam in line, and that makes me feel better after seeing this performance. What about you?
Absolutely. I think he was everywhere. He did have some rough moments that trying to kind of be a little bit more off the ball and not necessarily in your defensive pass coverage situations. He was really trying to make some plays in pass coverage, and when you're trying to do that, I understand it. I get it. You're trying to maybe show that you got really good eyes and I can get downhill and I can maybe make an interception or whatnot. But sometimes you got to play a little bit closer with some of your responsibilities. But I think at the end of the day, what I saw was quick trigger, like the mental IQ, like the football IQ that we saw from him was off the charts. He was everywhere. He was reading, he was deciphering, he was getting down quickly, and it wasn't too much for him. Like it wasn't. He comes in and this offense is just moving the ball all over the place, and it wasn't. It was just him doing what he did in Indiana. Like if I'm got that correct, like he was in
you're
Indiana,
absolutely right.
Yeah. So he did everything.
The big thing for me is he didn't look like he clearly wasn't comfortable in camp. What little I think he's gotten like 17 snaps during the season, didn't look comfortable. Today, having a week of practice with the ones, clearly he was comfortable, was able to just play. Now, would it have been different if it was, Keenan Allen coming across the middle on him? Sure. But he let the tight ends get away from him a little bit. He's still not playing those angles. He's still catching up a little bit to speed in this league. But I'm really happy with that. Guy I was not happy with is Josh Williams. Up and down day, had a couple of pass breakups, had a couple of terrible calls. And quite frankly, when he knocked the shit out of that kid late in the game and stood over them jazzing it up, like that pissed me off. Like you're not good enough to talk trash when you hurt a player. So just shut up and walk to the sideline. That really set me off. I don't know about you, but that's a negative for me.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if you saw he got hurt, obviously after the fact, when the medical staff is rushing onto the field. Yeah, maybe take a knee, maybe go up there and see how he's doing. Don't just stand there acting like you're tough shit. Excuse my, language, guys. But he, like you said, that's inexcusable behavior. Like it's not, you're not even Jalen Watson played fantastic in this game, by the way. He was awesome covering all of their receivers downfield and outplayed Josh Williams by a ton. We're talking about you being cornerback like 4 or 5, because I believe that even Jamar Connor comes in and plays slot reps over you. Like this is inexcusable behavior for a player who's basically on the outs. And honestly, if it weren't for an injury to Najee Johnson in the training camp, he'd be cornerback 5. He wouldn't be playing. So let's calm down. Like relax. Act like you've been there before. Act like you made a hit before. Don't act like you're in this game because you're a third stringer getting reps and you made a big hit. I'm done with that.
Yeah. I was not happy, especially when you have the speed to run past Quentin Johnson and you reach out because he beat you off the line and you didn't get your hands on him. Like that's just a poor play on top of a poor play. So not happy with him. Watson, he had a couple of things, a little grabby too, but
he got grabbed.
Skied for 1 PBU. Great. They both had 2 PBUs on the day. We talked about the front. We talked about the linebackers. We talked about all that. The guy that stood out to me on offense is that we're not going to see anything different. Mecole Hardman is exactly who Mecole Hardman is. Richie James, they're still not going to feature, right?
We got the full Mecole Hardman experience, guys. He made plays, he dropped balls, and then he gave up on a turnover play. Like he just gave up on it. It's just, we got the full Mecole Hardman experience, but where you won, we're used to it. We are used to it, and that Mecole Hardman, regardless of the negatives, positively impacted the offense today. Positively. He fought through contact very well multiple times. I know he was out of bounds on that play. He didn't know he was out of bounds, but You got to have a little bit more sideline awareness there, and maybe not stem your route all the way to the outside. Maybe get inside a little bit. But again, fought through contact. He did make that catch too through contact. Like that was through contact that he made a couple over the middle of the field. He broke some tackles. He got uphill quickly on some of these screens. That McCole Hardman improves this offense, whether or not I liked seeing some of the stuff that we saw. The first drop, Blaine was juiced. He almost overthrew Justin Ross. Like he did. He almost overthrew him and then came back and basically overthrew McCole Hardman. So take the good with the bad. When the good can actually outweigh some of the bad, that's what the Chiefs haven't been able to do. The bad has been negatively impacting their offense too much, and they haven't been able to come back and actually positively impact. So we already have the bad factored into this offense. Be able to impact it positively afterward, and you can actually do something.
Terry, I think you're catching up here. I just want to include this in so we don't have to come back to it later. Cam Jones is number 44. Reserve linebacker from Indiana, one of my favorite players in last year's class. So he showed out tonight. We're going to get to your questions here, folks. We got the negative. We got the positive. The big thing here is we're just going to have to wait and see on the injuries. Hopefully, Juwan Taylor doesn't tighten up or have anything. Yeah. That looked like it could have been an MCL strain to me or something that maybe with the adrenaline carries you through and maybe tightens up. We'll find out. Hopefully we hear good things about Wanya Morris. That's the watch. We'll have that for you tomorrow. Getting into the other notes here, I had a lot of negatives. That last drive, that was offensive drive number 5 where both the tackles got hurt. Let's hope that they recover from that. Who else is here? BJ, Connor. Connor, man, I did notice that he changed his game up after he got damn near knocked himself out, got woozy, whatever. And I was happy to see that because I like that he brings the wood. He certainly does. But he was able to pull off of it after that. He made a couple of tackles when he got back in where he wasn't leading that hard. He was just, hey, I'm going to go hit the guy normal and take him down. And it worked. And I was glad to see him be able to throttle it back a little bit.
He was never a good tackler. Like the one big negative on his tape, I remember doing it after he got selected. I'm like, yeah, this dude is not a tackler. He wants to get downhill and hit people, and every once in a while when he squares them up, he'll hit them. But he's technically very not sound in the tackling department. So it was nice to see him change that up a little bit. And yeah, he did have to go a little bit lower, get him around the ankles and around the legs, which when you're learning how to tackle in the NFL, it's fine. It's okay to have to go down there. You just have to be a little bit more technical and make sure you actually grab a foot, grab an ankle at high speed. Because if you just throw an arm out there, I can just step over this. I don't have to worry about it. Make sure you make contact, make sure you hit them. So it was, again, like you said, good to see he has the wherewithal to adjust his mindset and his tackling ability and his hits. So yeah, it was nice.
Appreciate that, Scotty. Thank you. I agree with you. I'm pretty happy. I'm going to throw my notes up on the screen, folks. If you're a member, you'll have these here in the next day or two. I'll get it PDF'd and over to you. That's one of the perks here on the channel. If you guys want to join the memberships, it helps out, supports the channel. It gives you things like this. This is the notes that I take during a ball game so I can remember to tell you guys everything. Red is bad, green is good, blue is like, oh, that really just happened. I have to go back and look at that again. Takeaways are the big thing here. Obviously, I'm very concerned about Taylor. Andy played it off, and it seems like most of the media are taking that as I shouldn't be that worried about it, and I hope that they're right. I'm going to keep a close eye on it. Really, really frustrated about Wanya. I hit that. We talked Kelce. We talked Cam. Ross, he played a lot. That was good. I think he was 2 for 4 on targets. I thought he did fine. I didn't see anything super bad. I didn't see anything super good. Did you have takeaways on Ross?
I didn't get a ton of look at Ross. Like I saw, obviously he made the good extension play, the good extension catch, but we're going to have to wait to see if he was able to create separation, create consistent, not just to kind of like get lost in the shuffle, because that will happen at times. And not just, I need to see him getting in zone, stopping, and actually, getting through some of that. So obviously some of the catches were nice that he made. I only saw 4 targets and then he got hurt, which I would have liked to see more again, because that gives you a little bit an idea of what they wanted to do. So at the end of the day, I think it was unfortunate, obviously, that he got hurt, but we're kind of seeing what the Chiefs think of him, in my opinion. Like, he was not a focal point of the passing attack before he got hurt, which is a little surprising to me.
Agreed. P. Ryan, I didn't mention him enough.
Yeah, P. Ryan was great.
I feel nice about next week with him as a backup to Clyde and Pops. With Jerick McKinnon won't be available next week, folks. He is still on IR and he cannot come back until the divisional round. So if that goes, but CH is going to be gone next year. I feel like Perine should be on the roster. You should give him a chance.
Yeah.
Nothing against Prince, but Perine showed me something that when he has to be a bell cow, he can be. I was pretty happy with that. My last takeaway for that too.
I like it.
Last takeaway, and I want your opinion on this. Eckler free agent. I didn't realize that. As a third down role, if you can get him cheap enough, I would be into that.
A fully healthy Eckler? Yeah, absolutely. Because he's not been healthy this year, and it's been very obvious that he's not been healthy. So, yes, as a third down back in Kansas City next year, take over for Jerick McKinnon. Come on down, Austin Eckler. That's a nice. Granted, I said bring in Derrick Henry and just make the meanest and angriest backfield in the NFL and just say, hey, well, good luck. We're going to run the football.
To be clear, folks, I'm talking in addition to Jerick. I want to see them both.
Oh, okay.
I want to have options as third down backs.
I like it.
Because let's be honest, they're going to go get pass catchers, so they're never in this position again. And if they have to, they want to have a bunch of guys that can catch out of the backfield. So I say the more the merrier. That's just me. We're going to go through all your questions, folks, especially your super chats. I know that they're in here, so we're going to rush through them real quick. Michael Adams, welcome to the memberships. Welcome. Hope that you're connected. If you want in the Discord specifically, which is a perk at the rookie level or above, go into your Discord. Once you sign up at the rookie level, go into your Discord, hit your connections tab, and you can sign into your YouTube account, and it'll connect you like that. FLDB set that up for us, and we appreciate you, Frankie. Also, if you guys want to get in on streams, we're going to try to schedule out some streams that we'll sit down and talk with you, and we'll go through, and I'm going to open it up. Usually the member streams are only for starters and above. We're going to knock that down to rookies. So if you want in that, go sign up. If you've gotten a free membership, convert it up to rookie, and you can get in that. I don't know exactly the timing because I have a bunch of kids' sports stuff going on these weekends as well. Playoffs are always an interesting tune for me, but that's all in the membership. So you can join underneath Dan, and you can upgrade as you feel like it. Welcome, Michael. Appreciate you. Knicks fan, Hardman already been better than MVS, even with the mistakes he made. That's not a bad or an unfair assessment overall, right?
Nope. When you, again, like I said, when you can positively impact the game, even with your negative stuff, you're doing more than most of the wide receivers that have played this year.
Pete Wilkinson, appreciate you, Peter. I do think that this is something that we tossed around last year. What are the chances that Juwan moves to left tackle next year and Wanye moves back to right, which is where he played at OU? Also, what's the narrative on Juwan's play this year being unfair? It was initially, I think it's settled down since that in terms of the unfairness. I always thought that this was a possibility, but honestly, I just don't know how the team feels. It's about Andy Heck, honestly. And he was talking to Morris a lot when he was off the field today before the injury. What would you like to see, Dan?
Man, I don't even know at this point. Like, initially, again, I wanted Juwan to be the left tackle. That way you don't have to worry about the left tackle. Going forward, you can kind of mix it up a little bit. But, again, I think he's had some good tape this year at right tackle. And they would be switching next year, which would make your tackles, once again, be trying to figure it out throughout a season. You've done it this year after you paid him. Leave Juwan Taylor at right tackle. And if you have to figure out left in the draft, you figure it out in the draft. And again, Ryan and I were talking about this earlier last on the game plan. It's a good draft. It's a good tackle class. It's a very good tackle class. You can get somebody even at the end of the first round that can upgrade right now over what Wanya Morris is. And at worst, you have a battle, and you have three tackles. You say we can trust these guys. That's what you want to have. It's what you want to have. The swing tackle that you can also trust to come in and play in case of injury, because we got to see a glimpse of Joe Thuney playing tackle again today, guys. Not fun.
And kudos to Joe hanging in there against Khalil Mack, who's certainly pissed off about having to play, period. Like, I was shocked he was out there. Kudos to Joe for giving it a go, but we don't need to see that going forward. Joe's a great left guard. Let's leave him there. Thank you, Pete. Appreciate you. Scott, any reason that you think Hardman has figured out or plays like the end just going to be what he should expect? Yeah, he is who he is. He ain't going to get any better about it. We have zero expectations of that. Ozzy, any concern about Wanya's play before the concussion? He was getting worked by Khalil Mack. Honestly, the big concern for me is he was losing at power, which he's usually pretty good at. Khalil Mack is very good, always has been a power player, but he's getting old, man. Like, he put Wanya on his butt multiple times, and I was surprised by that.
Khalil Mack's got 17 sacks this year, buddy. He's not playing like he did last year or the year before. This has been a return to form for Khalil Mack. And we all remember what Khalil Mack was at his powers. Like, obviously, he's not that elite, but he's a top tier defensive end. And this year, he's played like a top tier defensive end. And I expect nothing less from him going against the Chiefs in a game where, again, I think he played really, really hard today. And he showed that he was still wanting to be out there, even in week 18 against a team that's playing the backup. So I'm not so concerned about it. But again, we're seeing right now the cracks in the Chiefs' plan at left tackle. As good as I think Wanya's highs have been this year for a rookie, there are problems. And I'm not entirely sure if they're going to get carved out and fixed. And that's, again, a third-round player. It's not a second or not a first-round player. It's a third-round pick. I don't want to see the left tackle future pinned on a third-round player who could be good. He could be good.
He could be. Here's the thing. I don't think he has a chance to be good next season unless he plays this postseason.
I agree.
If this concussion keeps him out, they're in trouble. And they have to rethink the whole thing. So we'll keep you notified, folks. Ryan, thanks for the super chat. We appreciate your support, buddy.
Thank you, Ryan.
Come on, Miami. Wouldn't it be something? I would put my money on the Bills to win the third games. Yeah, Arrowhead Invitational might be back on. There is a scenario the Chiefs host the AFC Championship if they get that far and let themselves go to the Super Bowl again. You got to hold out hope, right?
Always have to hold out hope. But I think right now we're seeing the Baltimore Ravens playing the best football in the AFC by a wide margin, which, again, it's the playoffs. Anything can happen. And I don't know who they're going to play in the second round, but it could be the Cleveland Browns. And I'll tell you right now, a one-off game with Joe Flacco this season and that defense, I write nothing off. I write nothing off because Joe Flacco in a revenge game against the postseason Baltimore Ravens. Do you think I'm not here for that storyline? Right, I'm absolutely here for that storyline. You think
Joe's here? Joe can put one foot in the grave. He's definitely here.
I was about to say, do you think Joe was like, hey, I could possibly play the Ravens in the postseason if I join the Cleveland Browns? Sign me up.
Yeah, bring that to me. Brian, thanks for the support, bud. Steve, what do you think of our offensive line depth? I think they're exactly what they are. I think Allegretti looked just fine as a backup center. And I think Caliendo got rocked too many times for my liking.
Yeah, I mean, that's Frank Caliendo. Not Frank Caliendo. It's Mike Caliendo for you.
Oh,
guys.
Did I say Frank? Sorry.
No, I said Frank. You didn't say Frank. I did. You just said Caliendo, and I'm the one that did that. So he's not a good player, guys.
He's not
a good player. Yeah. And I think, honestly, Yang had a pretty good game in terms of being a right tackle coming in. I think he played pretty well. And there's still a backup player there. What is Josh Allen doing? What's Josh doing?
What's Josh doing? Oh, he's giving the ball to the Dolphins.
That's number 2.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
That's number 3
behind
for the
me,
game.
folks. I don't get to watch it live.
Tua's got one as well. There's been 3 interceptions in this football game. This is whack. This is crazy.
That's crazy. And Javon Holland isn't even out there. Okay.
So yeah, the backups on the offensive line, tough. It's been a little rough, but also when you're dealing with multiple injuries, you don't have Donovan Smith. You get 2 guys hurt in this game. That tests even the most offensive line depth teams. It always tests them. So the fact that we got Jawan Taylor back in this game, and that was a good sign. I think that he had ups and downs at left tackle, but he has ups and downs at right tackle.
I got fingers crossed. Everything I can cross, I'm crossing. Ozzy and Oregon, I'm not dropping your questions. We just already talked about the front on the defensive guys.
Yeah.
BJ and Herring and all that. So I'm just taking those out here. Can Cam Jones play Gay's role, or is he strictly a middle linebacker? No, he can play all 3 positions. He actually played some slot corner and some space safety at Indiana. He's got the athleticism to do it. I think he's still dealing with the uptick in athleticism that he's facing at the NFL level. But as a rookie, I think he's fine. And I think he will definitely come around. He can do it all. I'm pretty happy with him.
He's fun.
Sorry. I keep taking all these draft questions that you should be answering. Sorry, buddy.
You're good.
It's like all my guys showed up today. A.T. Perry went off today.
We were asking the Chiefs to draft A.T. Perry. We were asking them to. This was not like we both liked A.T. Perry. We both liked him. Like, this is a guy. And then, wait. The Saints using him. Really? as a
What are you gonna do?
really, it's kind of just throw him the football. He'll go catch it. Even Dontavian Wicks, who
Hmm.
might be one of the better receivers in Green Bay. I think he's better than Christian Watson. So,
Oh, you ain't doing wrong. Ocean, thank you. We appreciate you. Still coming back from the game. Wanted to thank you for your awesome regular season. Thank you very much. We
thank
can't
you,
do it
Ocean.
without you guys. You guys are the reason we're here, and we very much appreciate you. I learned so much football that I could even ID some of the routes live. Well done.
There we go.
That's nice to see. When you put it all together and you're in the stadium, it helps a lot. Thank you, and good to see you. Terry, I hope you're doing well. Do you think Hardman and Herring will be part of the big part of the playoffs? I think Herring has probably a longer road because there's really no one hurt in front of him. This was a rest day for Mike Dana and for the other guys. But Hardman should be in, given that he was peppered this many times. Here's my key, and I put this in my notes. You guys will see that for you members that want it. McCole was fine on everything intermediate, 18 yards and under, because he doesn't have to turn his head more than this. He's looking at the quarterback. When he has to track over his shoulder and you try to hit him with deep shots, that's where he screws up. Hit him short and let him run out of it. That's the only way that you can use McCole Hardman in the playoffs, in my opinion, or you're going to give up the ball.
I mean, early in his career, he was a deep ball guy. Like, he was really good at it. I don't know what happened. But to Ryan's point, yes, and the Chiefs have struggled on intermediate routes for a large portion of the season. And today he showed fire on the intermediate routes, breaking tackles and then accelerating. That is, again, something that they've struggled to do. When you catch the football, it's like, okay, you're going down. Oh, we understand that. McCole's going to give you an element. If you don't take the right angle to McCole Hardman, he's going to turn it into a 10 or 15 plus yard chunk, even more than what he had already. So he needs to be playing more in the postseason. He has to. And I think that as much as it sucks to put out a ton of slot receivers, it's going to be their best wide receivers. That's what it is. Their best wide receivers are slot guys.
And unlike years past where you try to make the receivers fit into all three roles, that's out the window. You don't have the talent for that anymore. And I think that's the big realization they've come to in the last couple of weeks. You have to let guys do the things that they're best at, and that's it. Don't ask them to do stuff they're not good at, because it results in bad plays. And now you are out of road. You screw that up a couple of times in a ball game, it's over, and you're going home for the rest of the season. So, Terry, thank you. Appreciate you. Let's see. Jonathan, would you say the Charles Menahue signing was a win? And congrats to Dan on his Wolverines making the championship game. Yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to be head-to-head tomorrow night. It's going to be great. How would you characterize the Menahue signing overall?
I think right now it was a good signing. I'm not necessarily saying it was a win. I think that he had a good comeback game, and then he kind of disappeared for a little while. And the last month, he's kind of gone back to the right direction. This postseason is going to be whether I did classify it as a win or not. Well, that's what we'll see. If he can turn it on again in the postseason and get some sacks and get some pressures, then yes, it's absolutely a win. Because at the end of the day, this team's a postseason team. Their seasons are made and lost in the postseason. So that's what this is.
This whole team has been geared about getting to this point they're at right now, what they do next.
Exactly.
My bottom line is, do I get more out of a Menahue than I got out of Frank Clark last postseason?
Yeah.
If that, then it's a win for me.
For sure.
I'll deal with everything else. Thanks, Jonathan. Lee, what do you think of Nick Jones and P. Ryan? Talked about P. Ryan. I was happy with Nick Jones a couple of times that I saw him. But honestly, I didn't see enough out of him. He didn't get as much play time, especially on the edge, as I thought he would. He was in the nickel most of the time when I noticed him. Did you see something else, Dan?
Not really. I saw him playing tons of off coverage, like just tons of off. And he's not really
guy.
Yeah, he's really more of a man guy. He's not built right now to play a bunch of off, and the Chiefs play a ton of man coverage. So I was a little surprised by that. And I mean, I didn't see a ton of him because he plays off and he's in the slot. So we don't get to really see a lot of what he was doing. So I'll have to wait until the tape comes out and see how he actually played.
Agreed. Vibe from the sideline the last 2 weeks has been so different than the rest of the season. I'm encouraged by that. I agree with you.
That's
Ozzy.
a very good point.
Yeah, that is a very good point. And that turnaround, that simplifying, as we've been talking about, lets you just build on your athleticism and how you play as a group. That defense proves that. And I'm pretty excited about that too. Great observation, dude. Jesus, Chiefs offense number 9 or Chiefs defense number 2, most surprising? I still don't believe number 9 for the Chiefs offense. I still don't.
That's the Chargers game and the Bears game showing their head. That's what that was. 2 blowouts is what's elevated them, because they're really more like 12, 13. Maybe at best this season that we've seen, but I'm still more surprised by how dominant this defense has been. Like I think we could if this Chiefs team last year underachieved offensively, we all kind of understood that, right? Like they were waving the flag, there were some things coming. And I'm putting my own brain into perspective here. That happened this year. What they expected to happen last year is happening this year. And I'm reworking my brain about how I felt about that because obviously earlier in the season in the early parts of the offseason, we kind of got really excited about what they could be because of what they did last year. But they pushed that window to this year. So right now, at this moment, I am more surprised by the defense being as elite as they have been than I am about the Chiefs offense because I understand now that this was coming. And I've just understood it.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense, right? As everything's on kind of a time delay the last couple of seasons,
Yeah,
right? It's
for sure.
It happens. Thanks, Jesus. Appreciate you. Jeremy, after today, should Chris Jones just be like $2 million a sack? I'm perfectly comfortable with that. If you have to pay 32 million, okay, I'll live with it.
Yeah.
Ozzy, Chris was after the game how it felt to be $1 million. He said, I lost a lot of money holding out. I'm just trying to make that back. Hey, so don't hold out next time. They let you play.
I love Chris Jones. Self-aware man. He's just such a real guy. Like we've heard so much about like him talking. He understands the business side. He knows it's not personal, and he understands that he cost himself money. He knows it. Like that's what it gives me some glimmer of hope. You know what I mean? A little bit of a glimmer of hope that maybe he realizes what this team's about, and maybe he'll be back. But again, I'm still on the side that he's going to be tagged and trade. Still there.
It's the most likely. Let's just put it that way. Would I love to see them a way to work it out? Sure. I don't know how you do the math, but hey, stranger things have happened. Brant is an absolute genius. So, hey, we'll see what happens. Do you think Diggs will be with us next year? Terry Mitchell, I love the concept of that. He certainly has been complaining a lot in Buffalo. But just like everybody who wants George Pickens on this roster, be careful what you wish for because it's going to be hard. Although right now with this receiving crew, you could see them just throwing to Rashee Rice and Stephon Diggs if he was on this roster. And maybe Diggs would get enough passes thrown his way that he would be happy. But if he isn't, he's going to cause a scene. He's going to be a pain in your ass. So you just got to take the good with the bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's also been hurt this year too, which has made things even more frustrating for him. I know we're not going to hear anything, but I've seen quite a few things about what he's probably been dealing with, and it's been more of like an abdominal thing. Like he's been hurt, like he tore something a little bit a while ago, but it hasn't fully healed yet. So it's been tough.
Sports hernia, man. But you can't do anything easily when your abdominal is messed up. So
no.
Ooh, thanks, Terry. Tracy, Snead or Jones? Can they keep them both? It's real hard to see him keeping them both. I don't see a way to do it right now. If you had to pick one, Snead's the younger guy at the more pressing position of need, in my opinion, for what this league is becoming and how many rules they give to the receivers and the quarterbacks. So I think you'd have to make that decision based on that. Do you disagree?
No, it's L'Jarius Snead and tag and trade Jones. He's also, again, he's an elite shutdown corner. That's what he is. That's what he's been this year. And I don't think that's going to change just because he gets paid next year. I don't think his mentality is changing. He's been this guy, but he's been a slot guy. And then last year we saw, guys, put me on the outside. I want to be against the number ones. He's told Steve Spagnuolo that's what he wants. That's what he is. He is an elite shutdown corner without the talk. He lets his play do the talking. That's the perfect type of player to have in your secondary.
Yeah, I mean, and especially in Kansas City, where you have to deal. There are guys that are going to want to come in, and as good as L'Jarius Snead and Chris Jones are, they both have to be happy playing for the fact that you play with the best single player in this league, maybe in its history. You're never going to be whatever the Super Bowl was last year. Close your eyes. Do you think of Chris Jones? No, you don't. You think of Patrick Mahomes every single time. There's no way you're going to overcome that. So you have to be happy and capable of being the guy that is not the top dog. That's a rare breed in this league, especially for a solo component of a defense like a cornerback. So Let's hope. Let's cross our fingers, Tracy. And thank you for the question. Appreciate you very much. Nice to see you. Thoughts on Hollywood Brown? He brings a downfield threat that this team needs badly. Dan's going to tell you, go for it. And I'm fine. I just don't expect much.
I get it. He's hurt now too. Like I'm not entirely sold on bringing him in now after this season with multiple injuries and then a season ender at the end. So if he's fully healthy and he's cheaper than what he was going to Arizona, then yes, I'm for bringing him in. But right now, again, I think he's still going to be one of the guys that is that second tier market wide receiver next to T. Higgins and guys like that. He's probably still going to command about 15. He's probably going to want 15, I should say. And I'm out there with the 15 with the guy coming off of a couple injuries, 27, and already had some injuries in his career.
Agreed. I'm totally with you. And Stephen, thank you for this one too. Appreciate you, buddy. I think McCole did enough for me to tell him he has to start learning Chinese because he brings things more to the offense. I don't know why Chinese, but okay. Yeah, I mean, we've all been there, and I think we're all settled into the fact that MVS shouldn't be on this roster next year. Some of the announcers are going to make it sound like it's not a foregone conclusion. But I will tell you this: if you listen to Adam Archuleta tonight, just ignore everything he said because he didn't have a damn clue about what he was talking about with this team. I think he studied the wrong team, to tell you the truth. And generally, I like the guy, but it was terrible today. So I wouldn't take anything like that.
This broadcast crew today for this football game was the worst I've ever heard. It's the worst. They were saying things that showed me their eyes were not on the football field. You couldn't say it if you were looking at the game. Like, oh, here's Juwan Taylor playing right tackle for the Chiefs, or he's on the opposite side of the field. Just look at the field and tell me where the player is. Can we stop this? Get people on that are watching the game and know what they're talking about. I can't. The product was so bad to listen to. It was awful.
Hey, CBS, I'll call games for you. Let me know. I can do this better than they can. I'll just tell you that right now. Rogue starting lineup. I like that. I like that a lot, Scott. In fact, I'm screen capping that right now because I'm going to steal that for something. I don't know what yet, but yeah, I did that one. Let's see. How can you handle the tackle situation if Morris doesn't clear the protocol? Well, you saw several of the options today. You could flip Taylor and let Lucas play. Donovan Smith is available, so maybe you just plug Donovan back in depending on how he feels.
Yeah.
Matt Derrick told me today, and I think it's on the Locked On podcast from tonight, so I'll let it out there. Last week, Donovan was still having some tingling down his arm and in his fingers from the stingers. So you got to watch out for that. So I don't know if Donovan's really an option there. So you could flip Taylor. Siri, I'm not talking to you. There's also, she's just going off in my ear.
The worst.
The one thing you don't want to do, I think, is let Joe Tooney go there because I think if you weaken two positions by that, leave Joe at left guard, deal with how you have to deal with it, leave a tight end in, do something else. But I could even see Niang. If everybody's hurt, Niang could play left. I would probably try that before I would flip Taylor on purpose.
See, I'm not so sure.
Yeah? Okay.
I think I would flip Taylor and put him at left because I think Niang's a better right tackle. I think he looked better today than he ever looked at left tackle, even in the small samples he got. And that was where he was. He's where he was comfortable. I think that we've seen enough from Taylor athletically and getting out of his snap, obviously enough to see that he would do a better job at left tackle than I think Niang would. If we had to, personally, I'd put Niang at right and put Taylor at left.
Okay. Fair enough. I'd be 50-50. I'd still probably try it the other way, but that's just me. That's okay. Cody, thank you for the question. It was a good one. Terry, can we get EB back this week? Well, folks, I'm going to run a tracker on NFL33.com. We'll give you a reaction on Black Monday. It's coming, and I think Ron Rivera's out. My expectation is EB becomes the head coach in Washington tomorrow. So I doubt that. But I could be wrong.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
I don't know either.
I know
that ownership group, I think they're up for Mavericks is the way it feels to me. So I could be wrong, but that's what it feels like.
I honestly, I hope so. I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think he might get looks elsewhere. I don't know if he's going to be taking this job immediately. I think that he's going to want to test it because honestly, I think their offense this year, outside of maybe throwing the football a little bit too much, it looked better with a guy that, in my opinion, is not a very good NFL quarterback in Sam Howell, who they're going to be upgrading at quarterback this offseason. And they got quite a bit out of Sam Howell. And I think that he showed enough that he can be a guy. And obviously the way he handled himself in press conferences is always good. But I don't know. That's just my opinion.
So for some reasons I won't go into, my daughters and their friends have got me. They rekindled me on Warzone from Call of Duty this weekend. And it's, I will say this. Eric Bieniemy was that little revive sticker. You could self-revive after you nearly get killed. Like, that's what he did to Sam Howell, right? And it runs out eventually, and the truth comes back out. So EB's going to get a shot to get a real quarterback if he's there, and he won't need that anymore.
My brother got me back on Warzone 2 weekends ago. Like,
we'll talk about that offline. We might have to do something fun. So RGR Gaming is coming, evidently, folks.
There we go.
Dirty, thanks for the support, bud. I missed the game. Did Ross do anything? He had a couple of catches. One was a sky, the first catch that on an overthrown ball that he went and grabbed real nicely and did the thing that he does best. But he didn't do anything terrible, and he didn't do anything outrageous. So all in all, I would say it was a positive day out for Justin Ross.
I mean, he got hurt again.
I guess that's true. That didn't look like it was much to me, though. I didn't even see it happen.
I hope not. Like, I don't want him to get hurt again, but
yeah,
it's another thing. I'm just saying, guys. It's something to be mindful of, because this was a big reason about him being an undrafted free agent. The injuries. I hope it's nothing serious. I really do.
Oh, dang, there's a lot of Warzone players in here.
There's
Dudes, I'm terrible, so I ain't going to tell you who I am online.
I am too. I'm really bad, guys.
I started playing because my girl's friends started challenging me. So the old man had to step up a little bit, and I still got my butt kicked most of the time. But Steven, a learn Chinese joke is basically means MVS isn't good enough for the CFL or the XFL. Okay, I got you.
Got it.
UFL, by the way. And you may see some information on that coming from me later. The USFL and the XFL have merged as of today. They did their draft over this weekend, and they'll be on the field here in a couple of weeks. So I like that, Steven. And sorry you wasted another super chat to tell me that, but I appreciate your support.
Appreciate it, man.
Ryan can't read. That's going to be the theme of what goes on here. Good to see you, Jerome. I wonder if the Bills lose, are they still in the playoffs? I don't really want to play them early. Yeah, they're still in if they lose, right?
They're locked in. The teams are set. The Bills are one of them.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. It's just where they fall right now. No one else is getting in, no matter what Pittsburgh will be into. What? Oh, God, what happened? What am I doing?
That was an insane touchdown. Did you see that?
Clearly, I just have not yet because I have to wait for it because I'm on YouTube TV.
I gotcha. Just wait for it. This is fantastic.
Who is that?
That was that's Trent Sherfield. That's Trent Sherfield.
Oh. Okay. I remember him vaguely.
Played for the 49ers the last couple of years.
Okay, rock on. Good for him.
And the 49ers first, and then it was the Dolphins.
Okay. Tie ball game, folks. We're going to wrap it up with the last couple of questions. We're going to say thank you for being with us. If you want any of the gear, you want to support the channel, you want to wear it around, this stuff, Dan stuff, our stuff, a couple of new ideas coming here now that it's the first of the year. I'm going to try to work on that after we know what happens next week. So check that out. But Peyton was asking, it's not that what I'm hoping for, but how would a Kelce retirement affect the salary cap for us? More directly, how does it affect keeping Snead and Jones? Kelce is about 17 on the cap next year. If he retired, you would gain that back. He's not retiring, though. I guarantee you. If he was retiring, he would have played this game and gotten his 1,000 yards. I guarantee
Exactly.
it.
I've had a lot of people say, well, I don't know. Travis Kelce's playing. Travis Kelce's playing next year. He's got a couple more years in him. He's not going to come off this season and retire. He's a competitor. I know people are comparing him to his brother. His brother is 3 or 4 years older than he is.
Yep.
Like, this is not the same career trajectory. And even Jason might come back next year. He says he's not coming back, but you think he wants to go out like the Eagles are going out right now? They just lost to the Giants.
Dang. I mean, honestly, I haven't even seen the replays yet. I saw the score, but that's all I've seen. So, yeah, maybe we'll react tomorrow because I ain't ready. Thanks, Peyton. Appreciate you. FLDB folks, give Frankie a hand, as long with Gary, who was in here before, some of the guys that help us out around here. And Frankie's really influential on the Discord, Rogue Nation, we call that. I think we can make a postseason run. The team needs to not turn the ball over, and I think we can get it going. I completely agree with you. They would have won by going away backups on backups today if they hadn't turned the ball over. That's what it comes down to. Ball protection is number one thing for this team this year. Yeah. And then it's making sure you can run enough pass offense to make it happen. I'm glad. I was hopeful for Rasheed. Rasheed's going to be up there with Dwayne Bowe for the rest of his life when we talk about rookies anyway. So I'm glad that they gave him the rest. Those two guys well rested means good things for this offense, Frankie, and I appreciate you saying that.
It is. And it's not even them dropping the football either, because they can live with drops. They can live with drops. It's the ones that turn into turnovers. It's the bad turnovers that they've created that are the issue. And like I said, I can live with the McCole Hardman experience. I can. It makes them better. I don't care. It makes them better. And the fact that we're saying that right now does tell you where the Chiefs' offense is this year. But it's an extension of what we've seen over the past couple of years. You have to be able to overcome your own mistakes. Everybody has mistakes. Everybody. This year, the Chiefs have been unable to overcome them. They get a penalty. It's 1st and 20. Last couple of years, okay, no big deal. The Chiefs work better when they have more room. This year, not so much. But McCole Hardman brings, and we have a mistake. We might be able to overcome it a little bit easier because he's electric. So it's all about them.
Cody, thank you for the comment. I found you a few weeks ago and really enjoy all the content. Awesome to have a thoughtful answer. Thank you for being with us.
Awesome.
We pick up new fans all the time, and a lot of them don't speak up because this community is really, really into it, and they ask a ton of good questions. So thank you for putting yourself out there, and we appreciate you. Welcome to Rogue Nation. We have a great time around here. I will tell you this too. For those of you that are concerned, and I've seen it throughout the chat, and I just want to wrap with this thought. For those of you that are worried about players being too money-oriented or something like that, that's part of it. This is a business. Guys play for the love of the game and to make some money because they don't have a long career. I will tell you the nice thing about this. There's always a step up in the playoffs in terms of the level of play on the field. There's also game checks for playoffs. Guys make bonuses for playing in the playoffs. And that is a motivation for some, and that generally helps. So if you're concerned about that, take a little bit of a breath, because that generally is going to be on the plus side in these next 5 weeks than anything else. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Dan, anything that we didn't bring up that you want to strike home here?
I didn't get to talk about FAU personally myself. I believed that he actually had, in terms of his, I'm going to kind of throw out his earlier season stuff because it was just getting into the offense. He was forced into a role where he wasn't really planned on being there. His explosiveness today did not come off. He was thinking too much early in this game. He was lining up about a yard behind the line of scrimmage multiple times, and I'm like, dude, what you doing? So
try not to be D-board is what he's doing.
That's funny. That is very funny. Try not to be D4.
Sorry, I ruined your.
No, you're fine. You're good, man. I mean, you didn't ruin it. I'm just thinking about them losing that playoff game now. But there were some very good things multiple times in the run game, which is the thing he had to work on the most. He was physical at the point of attack, in the backfield, and setting the edge multiple times against Rashawn Slater, too. A very good left tackle. Yep. This was not by any stretch a lost cause for him in this game. I don't think he looked that out of place. I just think that he was thinking a lot. He wanted to do too much in this football game, which is fine. I understand it. But the run game stuff was really good. He should have had a sack in this game. He should have had a sack. He got held by Rashawn Slater that did not get called on that fumble that Mike Edwards returned for a touchdown, but he got held pretty badly, or he has a sack on that play multiple times. He's around the football. He was there. So I think that out of all the stuff that he did poorly in this game, he bounced back and had a really strong finish to this game. But this is it, guys. It's the start of the real season for these Kansas City Chiefs. It's not where we wanted them to be. It's not where they wanted to be. 3 seed, all right. But this is what they come for. And I'm interested to see if they've just gotten to the point of where the Golden State Warriors were. Like,
Yep.
we do this all the time. Like, we don't really need to execute. We're going to find out what this team's about and if they can lock in for a postseason run, because they haven't been locking in. And like, where is it? Where's the comment that was made earlier in this chat? I apologize. You're in here all the time, but you made a comment about the Chiefs sideline the last 2 games being extremely positive and really, really fun. And I do, again, I apologize for forgetting your name. It was Ozzy. Yes. Thank you. Dr. Ozzy. Yes. For that comment. That's a sign to me that they're getting ready, right? Like, they're gearing up to get ready. And it was really awesome for you to point that out. And again, this season right now really starts for the Chiefs right now. It starts now. And we're going to get to see next week what they can do when it's actually up against the wall. Because let's face it, the Chiefs were never really up against it this season. They're going to be up. They're up right now. They're up against it now. You lose, you go home. There is no more. Okay, well, we got next week. There ain't no more next week.
Nope. It's all over but the shouting. Oregon, you put it perfectly. It's time to go to the playoff wars. That's what happens. Dan, sorry if I stepped on you earlier about FAU. I didn't mean to do that.
No, you're good.
Thank you for bringing that back around. Folks, it's going to be a fun day. Let's go watch this game and hope for the best. I know there's some discussion about who you want to play. That's all right. Jesus, I just saw your comment. I don't know anything about Cook yet. They have made 0 announcements, 0 updates. We'll see if we get anything on Wednesday. That's probably the most likely time that we will. They are on an accelerated clock. If they get a Saturday game, we'll know that tomorrow. We'll talk to you tomorrow night in the Q&A and discuss that as well. Be here, same time as usual. We'll speed through everything because we will have the national championship game to watch, and I will be all over that. So, Dan, thank you for keeping me straight today.
Yeah, no problem, guys. This is, again, season's over. It's time to lock in. I'm locked in. I'm ready to go.
I'm set. Like, I'm excited again. It's been a struggle the last few weeks to see them just kind of fall on themselves. So here we go. You guys enjoy your Sunday night football. We will talk to you tomorrow night. Have a great Monday. And we'll be back with you then.